Hello, man. How are you doing?
Doing well, man. Goes
Great.
fast.
And great t-shirt, I see.
Oh yeah, it's a
Yeah.
thematic for today.
Yeah, perfect. Cool. Very good.
Hey man, uh the t-shirt I bought on the boat of Ethan Real,
Yes?
like I lost it like
No,
the
fuck.
next like getting back in Quebec. I forgot it, I think, at my hotel room or something like that.
Fuck.
Like I was just finally I have a fucking Ethan Real t-shirt.
And it's
And
gone. And it's gone immediately.
not a week away, and boom. I was like, oh yeah, I will wear that t-shirt today. And I was like, what the fuck? Looking into my
Fuck.
hundreds of t-shirts. Yeah.
And it's
Hey,
gone.
hello,
There.
Davide.
Hi there. Good evening.
Good evening. It's just
Can you hear?
it's still the
What time
daylight
is
here.
okay.
4.
Yeah, here it's night, basically.
Yeah, 10 for you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nice. You're more in the dark thematic of talking about black metal later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice t-shirt, by the way, man.
That's
Really,
the same
really.
thing he told me. I was like, I decided to wear a thematic T-shirt, Far from the Sun of Sacramento. Uh, I had the
Amazing
chance.
album.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And I had the chance to see them last 2 years
Oh,
ago, actually
wow.
in La Messe des Morts in Montreal.
Wow.
Cool.
It's a festival of black metal. It was last week. I saw Marduk, Miss Terming, they are saying.
Derming. Yeah.
Yeah, from Iceland.
Yeah, I know
And
them.
And 2 years ago, Sacramento went to that venue. It's in a big cathedral, like church-like, um,
Cool.
and they played that album entirely
Cool.
Wow.
Cool.
with all
Super
the
cool.
whole stuff, like doing the blood thing, and
Super cool.
yep. So before getting into black metal, we will start by talking about Elvenking. Obviously, it's a great timing to talk together, guys. Um, Last time I saw you, it was the Hailstorm North American tour, uh, and it was awesome. I think it was a great bill for Elvenking to show the last part of the Readers of the Rune. We had the chance to experiment the new songs live, and I thought it was working really well. You played, I think, the first 4 songs of the album, if I'm
Yeah,
not
cool.
mistaken.
At
Three.
least the
Oh,
three, the three, the
three.
three first,
Three.
at least. Yeah, I don't know if
Yes.
there were four. Yeah.
Three.
I think
Three.
it was 4. Uh,
Were they? Okay. You have a
anyway,
better memory than we do.
oh, maybe I'm in the wrong. I'm not sure, but I think it was the first 4. I will check it out just quickly. And it was amazing. And how was that tour? It was your first time touring North America, I think. It was your second time playing because you were at the 2023 edition of the 70,000 Tons of Metal. That's when I met you guys on the boat, and I think we
Oh,
enjoyed the Belfigure show on the deck
Yeah.
together, a part of it.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, to be sincere, we also played Prog Power Festival a couple of times.
Oh yeah, that's true. I
Yes.
forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The
So
Three
first, the
times.
first three, the first three songs. I have to correct you, man.
Thank
yeah.
you, man. You didn't play Urchin,
Nope.
I
Nope.
know.
Not
So
not in the tour. No.
but it
We
was
had
it was the fourth single you released.
yes, yes, exactly.
I was mistaken, but you didn't play it live.
No,
But I
exactly.
have to say, personally, my favorite song on that album is To the North. Uh, and the last two, I think, in Autumn Reverie and The Repentant with that black metal riff to close the album. Fucking nice. Blast beat at the end. I was like, why not?
Yeah.
sure.
So going back to your question, yes, it was our first real tour in the US and Canada, especially first time in Canada. But as we said, we came to US for single shows and for the cruise, obviously, but never had a proper tour around. So it was a very nice experience, and we had a blast with the package we were, and the welcome had from all those cities and all U.S. and Canadian people have been just amazing, I would say.
I think so. People were welcoming you really well in Montreal. I don't know for the other city, but in Hailstorm, they are just funny, so funny, and so tight at the same time. They are entertainers on stage. So it must have been a great time hanging around with these guys.
Yes, it has. I mean, it's the coolest thing is that while we were having this first North American tour and we were enjoying all the good things of being on tour in North America, and we had a very smooth experience with the other bands as well, especially with Hailstorm and with their crew. Were so, helpful and friendly, and that was a key for the, well-being, also the mental well-being of Elvenking on tour, being so long on the road, and also having to face a lot of troubles because of course with a first time in North America and all of the challenges that it may put on your table. It's really important to have balance when it comes to the people involved and the relationship that you may have every night while playing and traveling. So yeah, it's been great touring with them.
Yeah, those people are becoming your family for a part of the year, and if relationship are nice, so it's way more easier to enjoy your time. It's not just playing the concert. You have to go from a city to another. Sometimes the daily are not easy. You're not sleeping well, obviously. You're
Yeah, I know.
eh, yeah, it's not like you're traveling in a private jet like Iron Maiden. It's not the same lifestyle, to say the least.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
cool.
We always say that obviously when you are at a certain level and you have some, the luxury of having good travels, good hotels and stuff like that could be much easier. It's not our case, and it's not the case of a lot of medium-sized metal bands. So obviously, travels, sleeping, tour bus, it's not that fancy as it can, look from outside. And so it is really important to have, great companions, great people to work with, great crew, and great bands, as we did with Hailstorm and Glyph. And
Yeah,
the
awesome
crew
band too.
was, crew was amazing, and everything make all the things much easier for everyone.
That's great. So there's hope for a part two of a tour for Elvenking in North America. Maybe not on. I don't know. Do you have plans to come back for the touring cycle of the final trilogy? Because Luna will be out. We know now that it will be out on my mother's birthday on April 11th. So I was
Happy
like, oh,
birthday
it'll be easy
to
to
her.
to remember that date. And but it's still far in the future. Um, so you the single we heard will be its throes of atonement. So it was the first glimpse of the album, and I told you, Aydan, how much I thought that single was very power metal for Elvenking standard. It was less folky, way more double drumming, double bass drumming, great chorus like usual, a lot of lead guitar playing, and a lot of rhythm. It was like a little bit the hanging tree was giving us, I think, on the last album, maybe if I can throw a comparison in the air.
Yes.
Um,
Damna, you want to say something about or?
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean it's yeah, as you said, um this album will be slightly different from in terms of the mood and the atmosphere, of course, because it's following the story and all the concept story that we are telling. And if on Rapture everything was, going to hell, basically, here we have a different point of view because, on one side you will, I don't want to spoil the story too much, but on one side you will have
let's go, let's go.
a view of the past in the chronology of the story, and at the same time we'll have a view on the really sad present. So the whole album musically will be like something in between this kind of a you know careless carefree atmospheres of the past where everything was innocent and pure and great. And at the same time you'll have the really the big sadness and melancholy of present days as far as the story is concerned. But this is mainly the what will happen in this album in terms of musical atmospheres and mood. So this song is basically telling a little bit of that. You have this seemingly cheerful lead riff at the beginning, lead melody at the beginning, but then you have this, melancholic and tragic chorus that it's not the typical happy chorus that
No,
you would expect from a power metal song. So I think that you can hear our roots when it comes to the power metal of the 90s a little bit from, power metal that was a bit more epic and a bit more tragic in a way from bands like Blind Guardian and so on. So yeah,
Rhapsody, yeah.
yeah, probably this is the mood of this song, and it has to be told that me and Aydan we wrote this song, but we at the end of the when you listen to the mix, it was our least favorite song of the whole lot,
Yeah,
to the point that but the story was already written in the lyrics, and so we couldn't take it off the track list. But at a certain point, we almost said, I don't know, this song, should we take it off, take it out the track list? But no, we can't because there's the story going on. And then we came, we met the Reaper Entertainment guys. We signed a deal with them, and the first thing that they said when we were talking about singles, they said the first single should be Throes of Atonement. And me and Aiden said, no, we hate
it's
it.
so ironic.
But then, we just talked and we understood that, in fact, this is a song that embraces, that kind of feeling. And we would also figure that our first time, first era fans would enjoy it because it resembles a little bit the spirit of the, Elvenking of the early days.
Totally. That's I thought it was reminding me more the album The Sight. That I know it's a controversial album, but personally I really dig that album. And there's so many some of your best chorus are on that album. But it was, I think that album will be released like in the last 5 years. It will have been more welcome because there was at the time all that metalcore scene that was thriving, and a lot of haters that everything that sounds a little bit like clean vocal with mixed with growl vocals that are sounding maybe a little bit American metalcore. People will just trash on those albums, and But personally, I thought it was a really dark album with a lot of great hooks, and you have the dark side, but also the very brightful, enjoyable side, happy side of Elvenking still, and the hooks were to die for. But yeah, that song on the new single reminded me a little bit that period of Elvenking, but also probably. I will not say it unreal, but maybe weird a little bit also.
Yeah, sure. About the site, obviously, talking a little bit about that album, yeah, it was really controversial for us. It was surely the album that was, welcome the worst from the fans. We received a lot of criticism at the time,
I
and
don't get.
obviously we can understand a little bit because it was pretty, a change from the previous albums. Obviously, we were kind of influenced by some kind of death metal of the early 2000s. So obviously, old bands like In Flames, Dark Tranquility were working a lot with electronics and stuff like that, and was a little bit mellow death, let's say, or even worse, a little bit, as you said, maybe into the core,
But I
a
don't
little
think
bit.
it was there was any metalcore in that album.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
a lot of people were perceiving that it was a mix between power folk metal and metalcore. And some of my friends told that shit to me, and I was like, "Are you
Yeah,
out of your mind? There's no fucking metalcore. It's not because there's growl vocals
exactly.
there's any metalcore. It's death metal vocals, like on the first album. Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was we were said at the time. Okay, you are going to the metalcore scene, something like that. It was pretty funny because neither me or Damna never listened to any, metalcore except for, the usual things that you were listening at the time, and so we were not, at all uh, confident, or we didn't know the scene at all. We were more interested in doing something a little bit melodeath, Gothenburg, death metal oriented with some Cradle of Filth stuff. Also, we were a little bit wanting to move a little bit from the typical folk metal scene because we had a little bit of the impression that even if we were one of the first bands, into the scene back in 1997, our name was not recognized enough in that type of scene. So we wanted to show ourselves mainly that we were able also to do something a little bit different, move a little bit away from that kind of musical path, and that we were good songwriters also in something a little bit different. Still, I believe that the album was not, understood 100% by the people. The concept that was behind it, and all songs were linked by the theme of death, seen through different views and perspective, was not understood, in my opinion. The good thing is that after many years now, that the album seems to be a little bit, rediscovered by people, and also the judgments are changing through the years, I would say. I don't know if Damna is agrees or not.
Sure, sure. You know what I think about the album, and it's yeah, it's what as you say. I mean, we were getting a lot of bad reviews at the time, also saying that we were, like an emo metal band. I don't know
Yeah,
how
the emo thing,
where
yeah.
where they got that idea from. If it was a growl, or if it was a sentence in the lyrics that just gave birth to that kind of impression. But yeah, I mean, but it was there was a certain point in our history where we were, as Aidan said, we were kind of trying to prove to ourselves, but also to the world, that we were just able to write good songs. We didn't care a lot about being part of a scene because we were also a little bit um, disillusioned a little bit by this folk metal scene that was happening in those years. We didn't want to be part of a like
You didn't
a
want to be
trend because
tagged.
yeah
Tagged.
it was a trend at the time. We didn't want to be part of a trend. We just wanted to write good songs. But in that term, we got carried a little bit away. First with the side, then with Red Silent Tides, we would try to do a totally melodic, almost hard rock album. So I think we got carried away a little bit. That has to be said. But and I think that
Mm.
gave a little bit, pushed a little bit um, the fans that were like a bit confused by our style because yeah, first we come out with the Scythe, then we come out with Red Silent Tides, and then
Very
Era.
different.
What are these guys doing? I mean, but then we realized that we needed to, you know, just get our shit together and finally uh, play Elvenking music, the Elvenking music, and
The Pagan Manifesto.
exactly.
I think you went back to the real style, but at the same time, the experimentation you did on the side and Red Silent wasn't lost. Like you
Oh,
kept some of these elements still
sure.
in the Pagan Manifesto, and probably that album is my second favorite after the debut. The debut is just, I think there's a big nostalgia related to that also, but I think it's full of quality, memorable leads and singing and everything. But the Pagan Manifesto is right next to it. It's like a more modern version, but at the same time, you went like writing King of the Elves, a very long song, and after a poem for the firmament, it's like it's even longer. I think that
Oh,
song
it's
is
even
even
longer.
longer than a poem.
Oh,
Two of my best song of the band. So sometimes it needs those periods that you are just
Yeah,
trying new things, and as a songwriter, I think it fulfills you a lot more than just resuming on the same path and trying to replicate the same album. Yeah.
sure. So they did. I mean, and we're very proud of those albums, and uh, yeah, they may have created a bit of confusion, but as you said, then when we gathered and started writing the Pagan Manifesto, we for sure we had, those album treasured, and we kept in our sound what was feeling to be consistent with what we wanted to do with the Pagan Manifesto on.
Yeah.
yes, and the Pagan Manifesto was exactly what the title says. So we wanted to, regroup ourselves and, rejoin our original sound, and not only the sound, but also the original concept of the band, lyrically, visually, and everything that we kind of lost in those Red Silent Tides and the side album, because only on the aesthetic and the cover albums were different a little bit, so we kind of make our own path to something different, and then we have rejoined ourselves and started back again what was the original concept of the band when we founded back in 1997, with the same idea, same goals and everything. So that was the idea from the Pagan Manifesto on, and me and Damna also agreed in the fact that from that point on we should have stayed truthful to ourselves and to our own concept and music path.
I think so. Every single album since the Pagan Manifesto are really, really good. Some of them are even excellent, close to masterpieces to me. the next one, Secrets of the Magic
Yeah,
Grimoire.
yeah.
It's a fucking nice album too. It's a really good successor to the Pagan Manifesto, and then you embarked on your journey of the trilogy of Readers of the Rune. Um, my question will be maybe for Luna. Uh, I see there's a second part of Readers of the Rune song, and is there a long song on that new album,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
more than one?
It's the long song of the album.
That's the closing track of the
Yeah,
saga.
it's 11 minute songs.
Ah, yes, thank you.
Yeah,
It warms my heart.
yeah.
I love long Elvenking songs, so
Yeah.
I
And I
really
think
like your
it is
proggy
a
side.
yeah, it is a very good song. I would say probably. I don't want to tell myself, but
There's
it's
one
probably
reason because it's a good song. It has
which one?
blast beat. It has blast beats.
Yeah,
Ah,
exactly.
yes. Another strong point. And so, how exciting are the plans for the future? Like this third album of the trilogy will see the light in next April. Then, are you like touring for that album? Is there any plans? Nothing that you can announce still, but are you discussing that possibility?
Yes, we do have a tour already announced. It's in January and February. We will join the Pagan Fest. Will Ailstorm once again,
Oh yeah, in
Ensiferum,
Europe.
yeah, in Europe,
Okay, yeah,
Ensiferum,
yes,
Tyr,
it's true.
yeah,
I've
Tyr and
seen that.
Idefog. So it will be a full pagan metal package, which will be very interesting and very powerful. So it will be 1 month of touring in Europe, and our plan are also to return to the US as soon as possible. We will have something new to announce for US in terms of booking agency only for the US territory very soon. So things after the Ilstom tour in US moved a lot there. So I'm pretty sure we will be back soon. Probably not in 2025 because we are pretty full, but maybe the year next.
That's cool. So, let's dive into black metal.
Yeah.
So, we talked about the possibility of like talking about the 90s black metal because we are three fans of that period of black metal in general, obviously. And I was last week looking at all the releases that I really enjoyed and got back in some releases that it was like far behind me for a long time. I just forgotten about those albums, and I talked to you about maybe doing a top 10, but we will just discuss like that without mentioning, but just naming albums and maybe talking about that. Which were your first album that uh, you dip your toes back in the 90s and you were like, oh, I like that genre. What is that?
Well, for me, it was between 1996 and 1997, actually.
Like me?
Because in 94, I started listening to death metal. My introduction was, of course, at the time there were magazines and metal magazines, and I was already into the classic and the classic bands. But there was the Bangers Ball TV show at the time, and the cool thing was that at the end of each episode there was this section called Into the Pit, and they aired videos only from the extreme metal scene, and there I saw videos from Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel,
Oh yeah.
uh, Dismember, Amorphis, and I fell in love totally with those bands. As I was digging in the death metal, scene with all these great bands, I stumbled upon all of these uh, really dangerous looking bands coming from this so-called black that was really growing, in the early 90's. And I was a little bit, I was 13, 14 years old, and I was a little bit, I mean, if death metal if is not heavy enough and not evil enough, uh, will there, ever be something that tops that, that's even darker, that's even more evil, more dangerous? And I was a little bit, unsure about starting listening to those bands, but then I did, and I fell in love completely. As black metal is one of my favorite genres that have always been since that day, since as I said, 96, 97. And the first two albums that I bought, that I went to the record store, and I bought Blizzard Beasts by Immortal and Eld by
Mm.
Enslaved, which were both from the Osmos Productions record company. And they showcased two different sides of black
Yeah,
metal. One really raw, fast, uh, poor sounding, yet so fascinating and cool. And on the other side is like epic and Viking
more
sounding.
battery.
Yeah. And I
Battery
fell in
did
love.
both too.
Yeah. I totally fell in love with those albums, with those bands, and there, my journey started, and then I discovered all of the, Mayhem and Dark Throne and Satyricon and Emperor and Dissection and Bortum, if we can say that, Bathory, and
Burzum. I'm
yeah,
always struggling with the popularity of that band, but it's hate or love, I think. I tried, I don't know how many times to like Phila Fasem with their
Oh,
that's my
masterpiece, but I
favorite
can
album.
get into that album. It's too repetitive for me.
okay.
I can fall
One
asleep listening to that.
of my favorite albums in life.
That's your favorite album?
One of my favorite albums.
Tell me why. I want maybe it will unlock something in my brain, and then because I love atmospheric black metal, but I can't get into that fucking album.
I don't know. I suppose you don't have to think too much. It's just in the
Mood?
in the atmosphere, in the sound, in every minute of that album is like expressing uh, something that is so I don't know. It's dark. It's uh, depressive. It's all you wish for in a metal album, in my opinion.
That's the opinion of a lot of people. So I'm taking it for sure. It's always a matter of taste, obviously, but
For
I
sure.
will try again. I'm a persistent
Just
guy.
close your eyes, not fall asleep, and then maybe you will like it.
Yeah, I will listen to it at night. Obviously, it helps a lot too. For
Yeah.
okay, that's nice. And for you, Aidan, the
Okay, for
Genesis.
my side is a little bit more, a little bit different because, when I was a kid with my metal friends and so on, all the guys from my company and group of friends used to call me the Fender. That was my nickname. And that was because at the time I was really into, classic stuff mainly. There was nothing like power metal or anything similar still at the time because I'm a little bit older than Damna, so we are talking about 92, 93, something like that. So there was no real scene and all this different definition of genre and stuff. But the guys used to call me Defender because I was really into stuff like Manowar,
Mm.
Halloween, Gamma Ray, the classic stuff, Running Wild, a
Merciful
lot,
Fate, I guess.
Merciful Fate, and all the obscure
Love them.
stuff. I had a real fetish for all the obscure stuff like Merciful Fate, King Diamond, Candlemas, Memento Mori, Memory Guard, and all the stuff that was really obscure and stuff. I was not really into black metal at the time yet, but then what really fascinated me about the scene was all the connection with the medieval stuff and the fantasy stuff that you know, I was reading in the magazine at the time, printed magazine we are talking, or even fanzine, because that was the only way we had to know new bands. And I was really, really into, you know, I read a review of Dark Medieval Times
Oh,
album from Satyricon, and I was really, oh, this might be very, very good, you know, because, and I was really into the fact that there were these one man bands at the time, or close to one man band in that case, with people doing everything. And I was
yeah.
really, I was thinking about that because, you know, at the time I didn't have a band yet. I didn't have people who really can play something in my group of friends. So I was thinking, oh, well, maybe I can do something like that. So I was really into those kind of stuff. So the first Satyricon album, there was a black metal band, French, was called Demonium. Probably nobody knows that.
I
It's
don't know
one,
about them.
yeah, it is a one man band that did probably one album, and stuff like that. And then from there, I got into everything that was, you know, including the medieval or the fantasy stuff with the black metal scene, because a lot of things from the very first 90's black metal scene was taken from Lord of the Rings and stuff, you know, especially all the names and things were really fascinated me. And at a certain point, I had this Burzum poster in my in my, you know, the very famous picture with a what's the English name for the
Mace,
yes, exactly.
the mace.
Yeah, exactly. So I had that one as you know, my main thing in my.
So by chance you're still there. So um, how much time do you have on your hands? Maybe a 15 minutes or
Yeah, sure, no worries for
good
me.
for you?
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you were optimistic, thinking that 40 minutes could you know, be enough for a
Yeah.
black metal talk, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Especially we started after 30 minutes talking about Elvenking, but I was like, we have to talk about Elvenking at least a little bit because
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
that's the purpose of the interview at first.
It
So
wasn't necessary, but yeah, I appreciate it.
that's cool, man. So Aiden, just maybe close your point on
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about this idea, you know, of the early black metal bands from the 90's, um, matching, you know, these medieval dark themes and some fantasy related stuff with very, very extreme music, which was intimidating, I would say, at first when I was, you know, the very first time I listened to this.
and
But
the
then,
mystery
yeah, exactly, really mysterious,
was like,
and but
what the fuck is that?
yeah,
These guys
you needed
are
to,
they
yeah,
killers or
exactly, you needed to,
Some of them were, in fact.
yeah, mayhem, wink, wink.
exactly.
Euronymous.
And so then, you know, the
Poor
most
guy.
you listen to that, the more you start to love it. And then it was time for probably Emperor or Nightside, I think, for
Ugh.
me. And then basically I met Damna when he joined the band, and even if presented itself the first time with a Hammerful T-shirt at the very first rehearsal,
Oh yeah, I
uh,
still remember that.
immediately knew
Glory
that
of
he
the
was
Brave,
exactly
probably. Yeah.
that was yeah, amazing. But you know, he immediately show us his love for black metal, that was probably deeper than ours. And you know, with him, you know, a lot of new bands, new albums were discovered. So I would say that he is the real black metal guy. But then um, you know, at the time I was a lot I was discovering also a lot Cradle of Filth and Dimmu Borgir, which were different kind of
More
probably black
symphonic.
metal, yeah, more symphonic, and was something different. But also that thing was another thing that opened doors for us and for me as a listener.
I think it was way more influenced by neoclassical music.
Yeah, probably. Yes.
Dimmu Borgir, especially with Enthroned Darkness Triumphant. Uh, that album, I clicked so much when it was released because my experience, the first song I heard black metal related was Where Dead Angel Lies of
Oh, cool.
Dissection.
Dissection. Yeah.
I still remember a friend of mine, like, you have to listen to that. It's crazy, blah, blah, blah. And we were at a party, and I was like 13 years old, and I was, holy hell, I never heard something like that. And then you listen to the the full album, and you realize it's like the ballad of the album.
Exactly.
It-
Yeah,
it's a
it
really
is.
smooth song, but Storm of the Lightbanes is so crazy on everything and so melodic. It's very different from all the Dark Throne Mayhem and everything that was more Norwegian. So
I
it
would
was,
say that it's one of my all-time favorite albums, and
oh, me too.
yeah, and maybe it's a different, not very popular opinion, but I think that Rain Chaos, the last album by Dissection, is also one of my all-time favorite album, even if
Oh,
it's
to that
even
point,
yeah. I know
it's a
that it's
melodic death metal album.
not popular opinion, but it's very different, more very melodic. But I love it to death personally.
uh if you take that album like not necessarily as a part of the Dissection legacy, and you are taking it like just a melodic death metal
Just
album, it's a wonderful album.
yeah,
But
yes.
it was the surprise to, after the Somberlane and Storm of the Lightbanes, he's coming back from prison, and he's saying that he will end his legacy with that last album, and you're like so fucking pumped. And then you release Maya Kali, and Maya Kali is not far from Where Dead Angel Lies.
Yeah, it is
It's not that
exactly.
far, so you're like, okay, it's a
It's
more maybe the most commercial song of the album, and then you wait and
and then the
you're
album.
and then you listen to that. Fuck, it's not melodic black metal anymore. It's
And
melodic death metal, but
exactly.
it's a really good album.
But I
It's
love it. So sorry about that.
Oh no, absolutely not. I like that album not as much as the first two,
Yeah,
but
sure.
it's an album that I enjoyed from time to time. Definitely, I think my favorite song is the Starless Aeons.
Yeah, love it a lot. Yeah.
Fucking nice song.
Yes.
And Maya Kali, I still love that song
Yes.
a
Yes.
lot. And after listening to that album, I was so
Sorry?
connection overseas is not always easy.
Yeah, I don't know. Connection dropped. I had to reboot everything, and now it's okay.
Yeah,
Never
it was
happened.
your turn.
Yeah.
Can't blame you with what I did earlier. So I was basically saying that that Dissection album, after listening to Where the Angel Lies, I was like, wow, and it was like the ballad on the album. It was my first introduction to black metal, and then I've learned about Mayhem, Darkthrone, and everything like that, and Burzum, and I wasn't able at the time to get into any of these bands. It was too raw for me. The true Norwegian, I still struggle a little bit, but I love a lot of albums from that period and that genre. But I think the next thing that got really myself into black metal after Dissection was Enthroned Darkness Triumphant and Cruelty of the Beast by Cradle of Filth.
Perfect.
Um, still think that symphonic, like inspired by classical music, is still one of the my favorite genre, uh, even today. And those albums, the piano work is so melodic, so um, at atmospheric at the same time. And really like those two bands. And then I got into summoning, way more atmospheric. Really like Minas Morgul and Stronghold, and they were talking about the fucking Lord of the Rings. So, like you must have noticed, I'm a big fan of the universe of Tolkien, because it's not the Lord of the Ring behind my back; it's Morgoth of the Silmarillion,
Okay. Yeah.
uh, and it's
Like all of us,
Fionor.
you know, you know.
Yeah, I ordered that painting to a guy that is living close to myself, and
Oh,
I was
cool.
like, I like the duality between dark and light in metal, and I like the same thing in the universe of Tolkien. Can you do me a painting? And I wrote him like a full page of what I wanted, and he came back with that, the duality of those two protagonists. And also I have like a master of puppets that is illustrated here. You
Ah,
don't
yeah,
see
I
it
see.
that much, but
Ah, I see, I see. It's no
and
cool.
I also have the Jester race. In Flames Jester race is in the center. It's probably difficult to see from there. And Iron Maiden, Brave New World at
Very
the
neat
top.
word. I see, I see.
So
Cool.
yeah.
So all our influences in one painting, basically, since
Mm,
since
uh,
as you know, our name is taken from the, you know, obviously from the Tolkien words, The Hobbit in this case. I think that, you know, Maiden is one of our, you know, most important bands for our for everything basically, and the Jester Race, as well as the Gallery from the Tranquility, are probably our
oh,
most influential stuff that brought Elvenking into life, because also that kind of, you know, scene, for myself, for example, Sky Dancer and the Gallery and Just a Race and Oracle are probably the most important albums
no,
for the band.
totally.
Okay.
For for me too, because I was talking about dissection, and then at the same period I discovered the Jester race.
Mm-mm-mm.
And I was like blown away by the contrast between the growl vocals and the maiden like melodies, but in a dark way, because the hooks are really catchy, but it's not happy hooks.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
some that are more on the yappier side, but usually it's kind of darker. And the
Melancholic, for
production
sure.
on those
Yeah.
albums, especially Oracle and Colony, wow. It was Frederick Nordstrom.
That is why we have mixed our first album uh, at Fredman Studio in Sweden.
Yeah,
Think, you know, we were very young and we were thinking that just having Frederick Nelson, we would have the sound of Just a Race or the Colony and so on. But we didn't know that you need to record an album well to have that sound, and that mixing cannot do miracles. But obviously, for us was, you know, a dream
it's a
come
great
true. Also,
production, your first
yeah,
album.
not so great, you know, but
Like,
yeah,
there's
it
better
was,
in the
yeah,
discography,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's not an
yeah,
album you'll see. I like the album, but the production is not
yeah.
good enough to enjoy it. No, 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 never.
The guitar sound is pretty awful, but okay. The funny thing is that when we were there mixing the album, also In Flames were mixing their live album at the time, Tokyo,
Oh, the
what
Tokyo Showdown.
Showdown. They were mixing in the other studio, in the Studio B, so we basically spent the time together playing ping pong and stuff with In
Oh,
Flames. So
wow.
yeah, it was just
That's so
amazing.
cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Earlier in your career to have the chance to meet those guys that were at the top
yeah,
of their game.
yeah, exactly.
We
Yeah.
we also we were also listening the to the Puritanical album by Dimmu Borgir because it
Oh
was just
shit.
being mixed there at Fredman
Yeah,
Studio,
for the
and
first
we had
time
the
because
chance to listen to it before it was released. So
Oh my God.
yeah, it was a
Eh,
treat.
and we were just blown away by how that album was sounded in the studio compared to us to
But
ours.
I think that the Hidden Reel album is unique. The sound, I mean, it's
Yeah,
unique, and
yeah.
it the
it's
cool
very
thing,
organic.
yeah, it's how it came to life with the ourselves being young and naive, and when I think about it, is yes, Aiden said it's for sure not the best sound there was, especially coming if you consider that it came from Fredman Studios. I mean. But yeah, it's unique, so it's like one of a kind. No one has that sound.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
recorded at New Sin Studios in a small town in Italy, and then mixed in Gothenburg with one of the best producers of the time in the melodic death metal scene. So yeah, that was pretty unique. I don't recall any band that played melodic metal at the time, ever, has ever done something like that from Italy. I mean, it was
Oh yeah.
pretty kind.
There's not a lot of in Italy, there's not a lot of melodic death metal. It's more death metal or progressive metal, power metal a lot. Uh Progressive rock. The scene was so big in the
Flash God
70s, 80s.
Apocalypse probably now.
Yeah,
If
symphonic
yeah,
black metal,
yeah,
Flash
yeah,
God
something like
or
that. Yeah, that's it. But at the
the
time, we were in the Italian scene. I think I would say unique, not pretty unique. We were the only one playing something like that in
yeah,
Italy, but
totally.
not
In the
only in
entire
Italy.
world,
Yeah,
not just in
yeah,
Italy.
not just
Yeah,
in Italy. Exactly. That was one of our biggest problem, I would say, because nobody was really understanding what we were doing, and especially
I
because
did.
we did because okay, cool. But we did a demo at the time, and we got the contract with AFM with a demo that was much more power oriented. That there was a lot more double
Under the
bass.
trees of
Exactly. Tree of Wisdom, White Willow, and
yeah.
AFM at the time was thinking about signing kind of new Blind Guardian or something like that. And then we decided to turn the cards on the table with
Yeah.
a debut album, and we did something.
Nightfall was just released in 1998, so
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
their more folky album of Blind
Yes,
Guardian. So
exactly. So
I guess that comparison with your sound,
yeah, exactly. Obviously, it
but
was one of our influences, but then we try to something to be as unique as possible and try something different, and we came out with these strange songs that are in the first album. And when the record label listened to the first time, probably they fell out their chairs, I think, because they were not expecting something like that, and they were not happy at all.
oh my God. I think that album because of you are using a lot acoustic guitar. And I think it's a really strong point because there's a lot of melodies, memorable vocals, catchy everything, but the acoustic part are like changing the dynamics of the songs, and it brings so many flavors with especially the violin on top of some of those parts. So it's folky, but it's like I told you earlier, it's very organic, it's well produced, but still raw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
That's
and there is
that's
another
the
thing.
cool
I
thing.
I, I believe that Fredrik Nordstrom is still the best producer for acoustic guitars. The acoustic guitars he did and he still does are the best around, and you can see it in every Dark Tranquility or In Flames album, and he helped us a lot in taking the acoustic guitars at the top of that album.
One of the cool things on that album, talking about acoustics, is that it was you, Aiden, that specifically wanted, this guy where we recorded the album at New Sin Studios. I'd recorded. An album by Labyrinth, the Return to Heaven Denied
Oh
album,
my
and
God.
we were all in love with those acoustic, the acoustics that are on that album. And
It's
Aidan asked him,
incredible.
what is this guitar? And he just said, okay, this is a, and he told him the model of the guitar.
Go,
It was
goddamn,
a
goddamn
Godin,
guitar. Yeah.
and he bought that guitar,
I got
and then
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
recorded with that guitar. And it's one of the magical things of that album is that guitar. So
totally.
things that are born, because you just listen to something and you are a big fan of that, and you just, okay, let's try it. And then it really changes things. I mean, the album was uh, really living out of that as well. As you said, the acoustic guitars on that album, and this is one of the reasons, apart from, the parts and the things and the arrangements, but the sound of that guitar made the difference.
Because
Oh,
we already
totally.
did we did then a lot of albums with a lot of acoustic guitars, but none of the other albums sounds like the first one. And it's the guitar plus Fredrik Nordstrom mixing which make
Yeah.
them very magical. I believe this is the adjective,
Yeah.
the correct one.
Totally. And you talked about Return to Even the Night. It's funny because I was chatting with Roberto Tirenti, the singer, and
Yeah.
we will be doing an interview shortly, like in a week or two. So that's
Yeah.
great that you
Say
brought
hi
up.
to him from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
For us, that album, was something to look at. We were when Return to Heaven Denied was released by Metal Blade. It was clear that also a band from Italy could go over the borders of our country, and it was
Mm.
the really the first time that a metal bands was going out of that, and so there was hope for everyone basically. So I think that me and Damna and Jarpen went to see Labyrinth like I don't know 10 times in the
Oh my
first
God,
year
lucky
of the
you.
band, just to steal the secrets, how they were dressing on stage, what they were using, what kind of amps they were using, what kind of guitars, and all this stuff, how they were acting on stage. So since they were playing a lot in our close cities and stuff, we were basically there once in every month or something like there.
So you went to the Labyrinth school.
Yeah, it was that
And
band that
Domina.
for us, yeah, was very
Labyrinth
important.
and Domina was another band that
Oh,
we
Domine,
saw.
yeah.
Yeah,
A
Yeah.
lot of
yeah.
shredding in that band also.
We're
Yes.
big fans of epic metal, and they were really great at the time, and yeah, playing some great epic metal.
And I can't believe you were like in the studio while Puritanical Euphoric Misanthropia was just being mixed. The album to me is probably the pinnacle of symphonic black metal. It was a stamp like Galder joined the band and ICS Vortex, and you're like, okay, they can just top the last two albums, Spiritual Black Dimension and Enthroned, that I think it's a little bit better. And then they arrive with that album, you're like, what the fuck? That production is so bombastic, epic, and
I
fuck.
mean, when we first got there, and Frederick told us that I just mixed this album if you want to listen to it. And I was a big fan of Dimmu Borgir because I apart from the classics and from the first, early bands of the Norwegian scene especially, I also was very curious about how black metal was developing after all of that big moment that couldn't last forever, that the early Norwegian scene.
Yeah.
And and still I was like 16 years old, so I was really fascinated by bands like we named them like Cradle and Dimmu Borgir. And then we were at Fredman Studios, and this guy says, "Okay, you want to listen to this album?" And it was, "What? The new album from who? Dimmu Borgir?" Yeah. And I was going crazy basically listening to the album every night because we slept in the studio. We had a room in the studio. So we had access to the studio every night, and we were alone in the studio, like
Wow.
kids playing at we
And
were like at the fun
every,
fair, you know. So
everything was on, all the desk
yeah,
was on all the night, so
yeah.
we could
So we listened
do
to, Puritanical on repeat before it was released, and also the first Dream Evil album that they just put up the band and they
Yeah,
recorded the
Gus
album.
G was playing on that album.
Yeah, he was there in the studio as well, and the band was.
Oh
I
yeah,
think they even
nice.
didn't announce the band yet, but we listened to
no,
the
no.
album and we got to hang out with them, and
And if you look closely to the first photo session, Gas G has Damna's boots on.
Oh yeah.
But did he use them or maybe not?
Yeah,
And
I think
he
so.
did, he
Yeah,
did. Yeah, because
because
they were having the photo shoot while we were there, and we were Frederick came to us. We have to make the photo shooting of this new band we're making, and there's this guy here from Greece, but he doesn't have proper shoes, proper boots, and he saw mine and said, they, should be this about the same size. Could you borrow them, your boots? Oh, okay. And so,
Wow,
yeah,
what a story.
yeah,
Hey,
by the way,
guys.
I think was very very exciting, to listen to that album by Dimmu Borgir.
Oh,
Back in the days, I was a big fan of Cradle of Filth, so I was very very curious to have Nicholas,
Nicholas Barker, man.
yeah, switching from one band to another
I
band.
forgot about him, but he's
Yeah,
making like half
uh,
the album with all
yeah,
those drum fills and the
when you
cymbal
hear
work. Wow.
the first drum fills he does in the album, where it's like, whoa, what the hell? And so we asked everything to Frederick about Nicholas, and he said he was telling a lot of funny story when they recorded the Twisted Sister cover. It was there or in
Burn
the
in Hell?
there. Yeah, Burning Hell.
Yeah, what a song.
He wanted to record it completely naked, so he did the recording totally naked. So that was the
Wow.
kind of funny story that they were telling. But yeah, the sound of that album is incredible still nowadays.
Oh, still to this date. I have one of my friend for dinner like 2 weeks ago, and we were listening to like songs on random, and I said, "Let's hear one full album." And hey, let's put Puritanical. I was, oh,
Uh,
it's been a long time I've
a long
listened to
time.
that in full with someone else, because by myself I'm doing it like once in every few months. But and you were like, "Fuck, that's so great till today's day." All
Yeah.
the drumming that and all the arrangement, it was they helped a lot. I think a lot of bands to for the production tricks and the thing that Shagrat is doing with his voice, a lot of FX, and they brought a lot to inspiration for other bands after.
For a lot, exactly. So
Mm.
we are very, now that we have known that Dimmu Borgir are in studio with at Studio Fredman again, we are very
Yeah,
curious to see what happens.
drum
Oh,
session presently.
yeah, obviously, not everyone knows that nowadays Studio Fredman are not the one that they use for Puritanical and that we did for Hidden Reel. They moved to a smaller studio because that studio was bought by In Flames at the
Oh,
time. So that big studios, that
didn't
was
know.
the big sounding studio with all the amazing production, is then now is IF studio, is owned by In Flames, and Frederick moved to a smaller one. So, but I'm pretty sure that the work will be great again, for
I'm
sure.
curious for a new album.
Yeah,
Really, because every single
yeah.
album has something special, like it or not. They are doing something different every single time, and
Yeah.
it's always
Mhm.
The
uh,
Onion was great,
yeah. I,
really cool.
I can't say I love all the songs. It's not an album I can't listen from back to cover anymore. But half of the album, there's a lot of strong songs. Alpha Omega, the last one.
The last one
I
is my
think
favorite as well.
Lightbringer, I think. Uh, I don't have the track list, but
Yeah,
Yes.
there's
it
some
was
of the song I really dig.
really mature album from them. It was really
Oh
really
yeah.
good. Really
By the way,
cool.
now that I remember, we had a big poster of Dimmu Borgir in our first rehearsal room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, with a very old lineup with a
Wow.
strange guys.
With Choldav, Nagash, and
Yeah,
So what
yes,
is
but especially with that
Sanastad.
guitarist and keyboard player that what were the name
Asteniu was the redhead.
no, before
before?
Before.
It was
yeah, yeah,
the tour for Enthroned Darkness,
and
but
Throne Darkness,
uh,
yes,
He
with
joined
a
after the recording of Enthroned Darkness, Asteniu.
yes,
And I had on my list of best black metal album of the 90s, Nexus
Covenant.
Polaris,
Yeah, exactly.
The
We
Covenant, and
forgot
they
we
will be on the
forgot
boat
about
this year. I can't wait to
very
hear
good
that
album.
album in full with Elhammer. All the original member will be there, so it will be crazy to hear that thing.
except for Psychoma, I think.
Uh, I know
He's not.
He's not in the
uh,
lineup.
Or Blackheart. What was the how you want to call him? But he's not
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
he changed name
lineup.
because of the
Yeah,
electronic period,
is
but
is not in the lineup, unfortunately. But all the
the
other are
keyboard
there.
player is what is his name from
Sverd,
Arcturus
Svert.
Sverd
Zvet.
from
Yeah,
Earthquake. Yes.
he'll be there, and
Yeah, yeah.
Hellhammer on drums and Astinu on guitar, Nagash, and that will be
Yep.
great. That album, I think, is really overlooked and fucking crazy good album. And you talked about Immortal. We can't speak about the 90s black metal scene without name dropping At the Heart of Winter. Probably one of my favorite black metal album ever. Such a riffy, cold, riffy, nasty blizzard album. Uh, some of the best riff of black metal are on that album.
Yeah, that's an amazing album. I mean, it was a change for them because
More melodic.
that is the album where they connected more with the like Bathory sound, the epic Bathory sound. While before that, they especially with the Blizzard Beasts, they really pushed the the pedal to more like furious black metal
Yeah.
and with a very raw production, which I love, but it's really raw. And then they came out with this like more polished and well produced because they first started working with Peter Tägtgren on that album, and it
True.
was a surprise for me when that album came out. Starting from the cover artwork, which was like
Oh,
incredibly
amazing.
epic and good looking, and I say, "Is this
You
immortal?" And
know who
they
did
changed the logo, and when they changed the logo, it was oh fuck,
who
we
did
lost them.
the cover?
Yeah, I know, Pascal Fournier,
Yeah,
the one that made our logo. The cover artwork was made by the same guy that made
and
our
some
logo.
and something else then.
Well, don't talk about that. But yeah, I mean, when they changed the logo, I was like, okay, we lost Immortal. We lost them. Because usually when a metal band polishes the logo, it's
Ah,
done.
they change
Yeah.
style too
Uh,
much. Like,
yeah, but no, they didn't. I mean, they were great, and yeah, they started a part of their career which is very very cool. I mean,
I think they brought the songwriting to the next level. Longer songs, a little bit of progressive elements were added, and the song really furious still on that album is just more
yeah,
melodic.
yeah, they're
I
great
love
songs.
it. Yeah, I love it.
And talking about another black metal album from the 90s from the band Windir.
Oh
Windir
yeah.
with Antar.
Yeah,
That
I
Yes.
love
album is
them.
more Viking black metal, but that thing
I
was
love them.
mixing like a little bit some of the influences you have as a band, I think. And
Really love
probably,
them.
oh man, it's Such a shame that guy died of
Exactly.
yeah,
in
the way
in
he
the
did.
storm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
crazy. It's
Very crazy way to die.
very metal.
Unfortunately, yeah, that is very metal way to die for sure.
Valfar, rest in
Yeah,
peace, man.
rest in peace. But great albums he did, and
Oh,
amazing stuff. Yeah,
all the album, the four albums.
yeah, the four albums I went, and I believe that one of the best album in the scene of the period is the one that you have in your T-shirt, and that is,
Sacramentum.
yeah, it's one of my favorites. Yeah, one of my favorite bands, and unfortunately underrated a little bit band, a bit unlucky maybe. Now they are back. They are back as we
Yeah,
know, but
yeah.
yeah, strange. But they
I'd
could
love
have,
to hear some
you
new
know,
songs from those guys.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Very
let's see.
curious where they were more leaning towards melodic death metal on their last album.
On the last
Uh,
album, yeah, exactly.
but that one is pure
That
melodic
one
black
is
metal,
pure
pure
amazing.
fury.
Yeah,
Yeah. You know, there
some
are
of
two bands which I really wish they would, from which I really wish they were releasing new music. One is Sacramentum and the other one is Dismember. It's, not
Oh,
black metal, but
Dismember. The last one is
I'm,
in 2008.
yeah, I saw them this year finally. I never saw them live, but I really wish they would come with a new album. Actually, they are, they said that they will, but it's really
I
hope.
read that I don't want to do it a new album.
Oh yeah.
Last thing that I read. I don't know if it's true or not.
Well, some time ago they said that they
Yeah.
were working on some ideas, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
they change their minds all the
Do you
time.
know,
Yeah.
guys, the band Down? I think it's one of
Yeah.
the most underrated. Down with
Yes, it
Slaughter
is.
Son.
Yeah, it's
Chrono, yeah, yeah, one
another
of my
band on the
one
slightly melodic,
Yeah,
side.
a
Like,
lot
of
of
my
blast beat.
favorite album for sure. That one, yes.
Fucking crazy.
Another, and we are we me and Damna have the what is the band that came out from Down and from Marduk as well. That band that did only an EP. Damna, you
Oh,
remember?
yeah,
And
Cruel
that
Intent. No, no.
what's the name? Where there
Yeah,
is also the guitarist from Dissection.
Dissection. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Um,
Fuck,
They
my
just have
memory.
one EP out.
only one
Yeah,
EP, but which is basically you cannot find anywhere. I
I have it here in my on my PC. I always have it here. So let me see.
Winterland was another one.
Yeah,
Winterland with
find
Welcome to My
yeah,
Last Chapter.
yeah,
I
that
had
band.
also Barknigger for sure. We didn't talk about that, but
Yeah, one
Barknigger,
of
the new album is incredible. Fall this year. Wow. One of my top. Uh Hagelach with their first album, Pale Folklore.
yeah. That's cool.
Cardinal Sin is the band.
Cardinal Sin. Yeah,
Yes,
Cardinal Sin. Yeah.
Cardinal Sin.
Sin. Yes, they are with a former Dissection guitar player, Devo from Marduk.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
There
Need to
was
check that.
the guy who sang in the Down album.
Yeah.
Since we have a little bit more time, maybe I'd like to discuss quickly about maybe more not obscure but more overlooked album that maybe some of the people who are watching this will be like, oh, I didn't know about that black metal album. I will try it and maybe give some exposure to those bands. uh
From the 90's
yeah,
or you
still
mean
from the 90s.
okay, okay.
And I talked to you about Winterland, and I do
Mm-mm-mm.
you know that album?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Welcome to My Last Chapter. They just have
A
one
very good
album.
one.
So
Yeah.
weird. And it's so good. And the guy disappeared. So they
Exactly.
did a print and then bye bye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people that do not know Dawn for sure because they did.
Down. Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
And I have another one that it's probably even more underrated or just unknown, and it's called Obtain Enslavement
Yeah, I know them.
Aydan and Damna, yes, I
with
remember.
They were,
witchcraft.
yeah,
Yes,
with the former singer from Golgoroth.
yeah.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, that's a great album.
Oh my
Really good.
God. It's a very unique album.
Yeah, true.
There's nothing that sounds like that. It's not the best production ever. I send that uh, to a lot of friends back in the days and still to these days. And usually people they will fall in love with it or tell me, "Oh, the production is so bad that I can get into that sound." I'm like, okay, get away.
Yeah, with black metal, production is the last thing you should take
Yeah,
into account, especially from the early 90's, where they all try to capture the real essence of the,
yeah. The
yeah,
worst was the best.
media. Yeah,
What else? Some good albums. I don't know. Maybe not everyone probably knows Nagfar. Vitra, for example, could be a good.
Nagelfar?
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
the
The
the first album,
Diabolical album, 1998.
Diabolical, or Vitra, which is
Vitra
even
Vitra
was,
the
Vitra
first.
was,
even better. Yeah,
Vitra
we,
was,
we there was also
And there's
a
another
nice
Nagelfar. There's the band
yeah,
Nagelfar we just talked, but there's
uh,
another one with
no,
one more letter,
yeah,
an E.
The Deutsche
Yeah,
Gotcha.
band.
and that's pretty
That
good
was
too.
Yeah, that was really, more extreme than the
Yeah.
Swedish Nagelfar. They were
Yeah,
really,
less
really
melodic.
raw.
And talking about Nagfar and Vitra, the singer Jens Riden did a very, very underground and unknown project that is called Dead
The Dead
Silence
Silent Slumber.
Slumber that
Yeah,
probably nobody knows. But
that
Dead
was
what you
great.
said?
Dead Silence Slumber is the
Yeah,
name of the album, which is not really black metal completely, but it's something obscure. How can we define? Kind of
yeah,
obscure.
it was a strange album, but yeah,
Yeah,
it was very good.
nobody knows it because it was released at a time and then disappeared, but it's pretty cool.
You
Yeah,
should write this down to me in
Yeah, sure.
Messenger.
Yeah, I will.
And the Cardinal Sin one too.
Cardinal
Cardinals.
Sin.
Yeah, I
Yes.
don't want to forget about those two.
Yeah, that has amazing stuff. And then Damna, you know for sure some obscure albums.
You know that
I
my memory shuts down after 10 p.m. So
at the time I was listening a lot of an American band which is Apsu. Maybe
Apsu,
somebody,
yeah.
yeah, somebody will remember about them.
another one from Osmose at
Yeah,
the
the
time.
son of Trifaret. Trifaret. It was a very strange, but pretty difficult, but interesting album. For example,
Yeah, it's very different sounding, and I have to
yeah,
admit I didn't spend a lot of time listening to them. They have a lot of album, a big catalog.
yeah, a
Uh,
big catalog. Yes,
maybe you can recommend what will be your favorite, guys?
the son of Trifaret, I will say.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's the second album from
I
them.
need to
Yeah.
go back to these guys because every
Mhm.
single time I'm taking some time to listen to their thing, I'm like, they have something quite to their own.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
Did we talk about Lord Belial?
Not
Oh
yet.
wow. Wow.
Not
Enter
yet.
the Moonlight Gate.
Yeah,
No.
that was awesome. That was awesome. Yeah.
Crazy album. There's a song
Very good.
that is like 20 minutes long on that album.
Yeah.
Uh, is that 20 minutes? It's very a long song and it's the best on the album. Uh, what a fucking wonderful track. Really like Lord Belial's
Yeah, that
stuff.
was great. Great album.
I
Yeah.
was interviewing another band from Sweden lately, Mark Greening.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Mark
that's one of my
Green.
favorite.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
one of my favorite.
The debut is
The new
good.
singles are out. They're really good.
Yeah, I know. I'm listening to the full album, Fasonastid, for like more than a month, and I can tell you guys that is a fucking banger of a follow-up of their coming back album they released in
Yeah,
2021.
yeah.
Inside is Vrede. That's how he pronounced it. He told me. I was interviewing Drac,
Cool.
one of the founder. They
Founders,
have a yeah, and it was a really interesting chat I had with him. And the new album is it's more diverse, I would say. They are exploring a little bit more. There's clean vocals, but also you still got the fury of the last one. That it was a really high energy album, but so melodic at the same time.
Another cool band from those years was Unanimated.
Oh, Unanimated, yeah. It's
yeah.
like um half melodic death metal, half black.
Yeah, exactly. On
Their
talking
first
about
album
that,
is
they also made a very good one recently. That was very good.
yeah,
They Yeah, it was released I think a couple of years ago. My
I think
memory
2 years ago, something
is
like that.
beautiful. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
There are
Merce
still
in that style that is blending melodic death and melodic black, Merciless.
Yeah,
nurses. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Merciless with the album The Moaning, I think.
Yes. Mhm.
Really great stuff. Not a
Also,
lot of
the
people
first albums from Ulver were
Unbound,
from
the
them.
album I
Yeah.
was talking about.
Okay.
Really good. And I was talking about The Moaning is another band.
It's a
That
band.
one. Have you
Oh,
Yes.
seen?
Yes.
yeah. I just rediscovered that album recently. I think I
Oh
We
just
yeah,
sent it to you. You remember?
just shared. Yes,
it's so
Yeah,
exactly.
good, man.
Yes.
It's a black, deaf black melodic metal,
From yeah,
and
yeah,
it's really nice. Not a lot of people are. You got to be a nerd to be aware of all those albums, and yeah, you
yeah.
guys do
And
know
we are.
everything.
And we are.
Yeah, it's fun because
Unfortunately.
mostly I will talk about all those bands and nobody is like, what's
yeah.
that?
And then there were Diabolical Masquerade.
Oh man, with
Yeah.
the Henslave guy and Dan Sueno.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that I have it on my
The
list.
Catatonia guy,
Catatonia, not
That
in
again.
with Nystrom,
that
Anders
guy.
Nystrom,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and
That guy.
the singer.
There was only black. Well, yes, at the beginning, maybe.
The very beginning.
Yeah, I think so. Jonas, what's his last name?
Anyway, it
Enki
was
and
Black Himes project. Anyway, yeah,
mm. Oh no, no, Jonas wasn't on the
yeah.
Diabolical project. No, it's really Anders Nystrom and Dan
And then
Sueno.
Swan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
yeah, and everything by Dan Sueno. Look, I'm a
Yeah,
big
exactly.
fan. Edge of Sanity, uh, Nightingale.
Nightingale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that prog rock metal,
I just listened to the new
Witherscape.
song from Nightingales.
There's
There's
a
a
new
new
song.
song.
There's a new song.
Yeah, yeah, the album is coming out. There
Oh
are three
wow,
singles out. I just figured today that yeah, there is a new album coming and it's really good.
that's his
Didn't know
project with his
about.
brother.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
sounding yeah, a bit like
The
the
other one.
past. So it's yeah, cool.
Okay,
Cool.
Interesting.
got a lot
Very
of good
cool guy,
albums.
Dan Swano. We mixed the Divination album with him exactly to have a
Hmm.
specific 90's flavored production. I was the sweetest, nice guy ever, probably.
Hmm.
He seems so. And
He is.
him
Is
and Nordstrom back in the 90s and early 2000, they were like doing almost every single production of
production. Yeah.
every good album.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
They were on fire. And you had also that guy from Finland, the Finvox studio.
Who?
that
Miko
did
Carmino?
like Children of Bodom and
Miko Carmino, yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the best producer around. Yes, for sure.
Oh yeah, really good. Um, do I have something else on my list? I have Enslave. It's not that they are not known, but their first like album are really more into black metal,
Yeah.
Frost, and the other one before that is really hard to say,
Yeah.
Viking Veldi, something like that.
Mhm.
Breaking the Melody, yeah. Also Eld.
Yeah.
Yes, they were
Borknagar,
still
we
black metal up to L, and after they just changed into a way more progressive metal
Yeah,
style, but
yeah, yeah,
still
they
cool.
they evolve a lot.
yeah.
We love also Old Man's Child a lot, even
We
before,
didn't talk about
yeah,
Oseman Child.
yeah.
That's
Pagan
that's such a shame.
Prosperity was another great
Yeah.
album for us at the
Ill
time.
Natural Invasion.
Also, yeah.
Dun, dun,
A-
dun, 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 dun. At the beginning
and
of that album.
and now
Whoa.
they are coming back. So let's see what
Yeah.
happens.
I
Let's see
was
what
so
happens.
happy if not happy that Galder left Dimu, but at the same time, if you want, you can do everything at the same time. So if you
Yes,
want to tour with Osman Child, he had to leave the beast of Dimmu Borgir. And I I think they have so many good albums. Born of the Flickering is also a good album
yes,
in the
yes,
90's. But
yes. The
I'd
first one,
say my ultimate favorite album from them is In Defiance of Existence with
the
Nicholas Barker on
Barker
drum.
on
I think
drums.
it's
Yes.
2003.
Mm. They did a lot of good albums, maybe except the last one. We were
Yeah, last one.
discussing the, yeah,
It
recently, me and
wasn't bad.
Damna.
It was just so
No,
generic,
yeah,
I think.
maybe, yeah, exactly. It was, yeah, probably
I
already on focused on Dimmu Borgir at the time. So yeah,
totally. Over.
although I was saying before
Oh,
that
you
we have
said it before?
yeah,
Oh,
that we
sorry.
forgot about them, but yeah,
Yeah, we
another
forgot
great
because
band. Yeah.
it's a big name. They change completely style after their second
Yeah,
album, but the first
exactly.
two are really
Bergdat.
blasting. Ah?
Bergdat is an amazing album.
Oh yeah, the
Yes.
first one. Yeah.
Mm,
The second one, I think I'm not sure if I like more the second one or the first one.
Further
They
is
think they
The
are coming
acoustic
in.
one, you mean? You mean the acoustic?
No,
the
no,
Or
the
second.
the
second one
okay.
is weird name again. It's Nathan's Madrigal. The
Yeah.
second one is like there's a bit of yellow, purple, and
Yeah.
Well, the Sanger is the acoustic one, correct or no? I don't remember, and I'm not able to pronounce
no, no.
correctly the.
And I just saw a band this weekend at La Messe des Morts that was necrophobic.
Oh, yeah, great
Melodic
album.
black death metal. They have
Yeah.
some of very good albums in the 90's
Yes,
also.
They did. They did.
yes,
They still do, actually.
Oh yeah.
yes.
It's just all their albums lately are so good. Every song is good, but it's almost very reminiscent from one to another.
Yeah, they're
They
pretty
they are
similar. Yeah.
they are in a box and it's very good, but they don't experiment
Mm,
that much outside of
yes.
that. But
Mm,
you know what you will get on the new album, and the new one is it's like that
yeah, it is.
quality. And
Which
live
is
they were good. And
a great
Marduk
band.
played the Panzer Division Marduk album in full.
Cool.
Man, it's a one blast beat for 30 like 6 minutes. It's crazy. Live is better, I think.
Cool. Yeah, they're great. I've seen it several times.
So that wraps it off, guys. Thank you so much for that great
Thanks a
chat.
lot, man.
It was nice to exchange about so many bands that are not a lot of people are talking about, and but still they have released a lot of quality albums in the past, and some of them are still active. And I hope it will give some idea for new music, for not new music, new whole music for some of the subscriber on my channel. And at the same time, we had the chance to talk about the new album coming out on April 11, 2025 on Reaper Entertainment. Luna, the closing epic album of the trilogy of Readers of the Rune. Oh, can't wait to hear that in full. And finally, we'll be able to listen to the full trilogy in one shot. 3 hours of
Well,
music.
yeah, we need to do it as well sooner or later. Never did it yet.
No,
No.
like one
No,
listening session, all three
um,
albums.
too long, too long.
Yeah, it's a long time. Yeah.
Yes. And we don't listen to our own music.
You work
No.
so hard on that. When it's out, it's just don't talk to me about that album
Yeah.
anymore.
You work so long, and you cannot stand that song anymore after having
Yeah.
worked with them for 1 or 2 years. Yeah, it's really too much.
And then you can come back with
Yeah, after
a new
af
perspective.
exactly after some time. Yes.
Maybe a last question. Do you have any plans in your head for another album, ideas that you, or is just the creative it's ending with this album and then you will have another creative session in the future, but are you having at least ideas of maybe what the next album could be related to, or
Well, I think that we've been working for so long on this
6 years?
concept story. Yeah, it's like yeah, since 2018 that we are talking and about this concept and writing all of the lyrics and the music and everything. And we of course are looking forward to getting to more regular kind of album. So we already have ideas, and we are starting discussing about now that we know when this one will be released, and we will finally have we will get it out of our system. We are starting talking about, what we'll be doing in the future. So, yeah, some ideas already there. And yeah, when we start talking about new music and new songs, it means that the new chapter is slowly setting in. So yes, we started actually. So
Also,
But it's
also because this album is going to be released next year, but the songwriting for this album is pretty, old. We wrote these songs in 2021. So I would say that it was, yeah, these songs are pretty old, even if then we took a lot of time to record the chapter 2 and chapter 3. So I think it's definitely time for something new, and especially not being linked to this, concept.
universe, yeah.
And yeah, I have some more freedom, which can opens your mind again as in a different way, for sure.
That's great. I'm really excited to finally hear that thing, and it was a pleasure to go in a deeper discussion with you guys. Obviously, we are three metal fans that really like our metal to death, so
Absolutely.
it's really nice.
So
So
thank you very much. It was a big pleasure.
thank you, man.
likewise, and I wish you great success for the release of this new album and for the next tour with Hailstorm and the next upcoming tour in North America that is not announced yet. So
Hopefully,
can't wait. Yeah, we can't
we
assure
we
anything now, but it's in the
we will
plan.
be back for sure.
Cool.
Thank you so much for everything. It was nice discussion between three metalheads, as you said, and metal fans especially.
Yeah, at first. So
Exactly.
have a great night, and
Thank you
I
very much.
will go for dinner.
Cool. All right, man.
Cheers,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Cheers.
Cheers.